you had mentioned that, you kind of knew it was, an issue for a little bit. You wrestled with it. Um, what was that, was there a, true defining moment where, you know, I don't want to say hit rock bottom, but, the side effects really, really came to surface. How had it, impacted your life to where it was like, you finally like put your foot in the sand and said, I'm making this decision, today and I'm not looking back. And then, question. So first question, yeah. What was that moment in your journey in your life? And then what do you think guys like? Where do they need to get to in their own struggle? Like, do they need to get to the point where they can't perform sexually? Their wife catches them. They lose their job because they're watching it at work. Like, does a guy need to hit a point of like rock bottom? So was there a moment for you? And then do guys need that in their life? And if not, how do they realize they need to make a change?
Yeah. So I had two kind of rock bottom experiences. The first was when I was in university. I was dating somebody, and we were sexually active in that relationship, both Christians, and just figuring ourselves out, figuring our faith out. And when that relationship ended, um, I just felt like my whole life got pulled out from underneath me. And interesting, just to kind of even loop back to what we talked about earlier, Frank. When I was dating her, I didn't watch porn because in some ways the root issue was just manifesting a different way because it was getting satisfied in our sexual activity. And that's kind of why sometimes when you really get to the heart of the matter, you can tackle those roots. It can go a long way. That was my first rock bottom moment, and that kind of ties into me discovering my faith, committing my life to Jesus, and sort of embarking on this journey to freedom. The second rock bottom moment was when I was pastoring. I had been clean for about a year, and it was actually no longer than that because for most of ministry school I was clean, and then the first year out of ministry school when I was pastoring, I stayed clean. So maybe 16 months, something like that, and and I had a really bad relapse, and that was the thing for me where I was like, how can you go that long and then still relapse like this? Like it felt very discombobulated for me, and it was like enough is enough. Like I'm a pastor now. I'm not gonna joke. I'm not gonna play with this stuff anymore. Like I know where this leads if I don't do something about it. And that's when I started to invest in a little bit more professional help. I had done that prior as well, but this is when I really invested and I really put a stake in the ground and said enough is enough. Um, to answer your question about what other guys can do, I think it's twofold. There's going to be a handful of guys listening to this right now who actually are at that point. You've had enough. You've said enough is enough, and I'm ready to do something different, and I'm going to put a stake in the ground. And the best thing you can do is ride the momentum of that decision until kingdom come. Do something like look into Frank's program. Go watch videos on YouTube. Like do whatever it is, but put a stake in the ground and get somebody in your corner who's going to help you. Don't you dare try to do it alone, because you're going to thwart all that great momentum that you kind of have waiting to be unpacked. If somebody maybe isn't quite there, you understand it's having a bad effect, but you're not necessarily feeling it. You might be numb to it, or you're just not at that point where you're ready to maybe put a stake in the ground per se. Still, the best thing for you to do is to take action. And it might not mean that you are brave enough to reach out to a coach quite yet, or you're willing to invest your hard earned money into it, but invest in some resources. Talk to a friend about it. Take some sort of action. That will always be the best thing to propel you towards your goals, is just making a step towards them. So that would be my main piece of advice. And even in my own journey, I did both. I had seasons where it's like, yeah, okay, I know I need to get free. Let's take some action. And then I had some seasons where it was like, this has got to go, and I'm going to do whatever it takes at any cost.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. Reach out for help. Like, don't try to go about this on your own. Like I get
Yeah.
so many men like reaching out. They're like, I can't afford a program. I can't invest into coaching. Like, do you think I can do this on my own? And I'm like, no. Like, so you need to find you need to find somebody, whether it's your pastor or somebody in your family or a close friend. Not your girlfriend, not your wife, not your spouse. They're not there to be your accountability partner. Recruit them, understand them, get them on the side of the table with you and say, hey, I'm working through this. Can you support me? They're not there to check in on you and serve at your accountability. But no, I don't think you can go about it. And it seems you agree with that as well. I mean, I know for me,
Yeah.
like the men in my life, in every area. I don't go about anything on my own. I have a business coach. Still to this day, being, 2 decades in the fitness industry, I still have a trainer that helps me with movement and stuff. And, I have spiritual, coaches and mentors. Like I'm always seeking people that are a few steps ahead of me. And I know Drew talks about kind of the three people you need. You need the expert, the ally, and then the mentor coach. But yeah, you definitely need people